Hello and welcome. The purpose of this video is to talk about some of the options that you have when looking at the submissions that you've made to the website after you've actually made those submissions. So this is after the competition or your submission group is closed and you want to look at all the submissions that have been made. So let's talk about some of the options that you have off the main menu or homepage dashboard. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and I'm going to talk about two of the main options that you have here. This is the looking 30 days into the past and 21 days into the future. So in this case it's specified to 30 days, so whatever the current day is, it looks back 30 days and it lists off all the competitions and all the entries that have closed. So for example, the Kappa digital entry has closed recently. There's a digital competition, a print competition, and a President's Challenge competition. Also, you can specify the number of days in the future that a particular submission is available to be submitted into. So in this case, I can look at submissions up to 21 days into the future. At any particular point in time, you can click either of these two entries to bring up in the Manage Display options, and you can specify the number of days into the past that you want to look, say 120, and the number of days into the future that you want to look, and in this case I'm just going to hit 7. You can also get an extremely detailed grid version and a terse version. So I'm going to turn on the extremely detailed grid version for now. I'm going to turn it off later because it's a lot of information. So when I go back to the home page, you'll see that first this terse version has been replaced by an extremely detailed version, and then now I'm looking 90 days into the past and now only 7 days into the future. So the list changes as to what I'm going to see. And again, these two numbers here are updated, so I'm going to go back to what I had before. So I'm going to actually go 21 and 45, and whatever number of days you specify is entirely up to you. And then I'm going to go into this terse view. Go back to the home page. Oh, and actually before I do that, I want to mention that these options are stored as a cookie on your computer. So if you do this at home and then you go to the office, these options will not be set. You'll have to do them specifically on the computer at the office. So go back to the home page and I'll scroll down the list here, and I have this terse view of options, 21 days, 45 days, and again the options here have changed. Now one thing that's not shown on this page is a band of yellow. Any entries that are yellow means that they're going to close in the next 24 hours. So if you go to the home page and you see yellow entries, then you should be thinking about submitting to those ones right away. If you want to submit into any of the competitions, you can click this button here to manage your submissions. Alternatively, you can click any of these links here to get more information, or to submit a particular image. So for example, if I wanted to submit into the Twilight Zone, I can click this button and I immediately go into the entry. And what's different is I can go immediately into adding an image. I can specify the title, I can specify duplicates and notes. The duplicates is basically, as it's stated here, it allows the club to use your images to help promote the club. So if you keep this thing checked on, the club will use the images, and we'll make sure that we'll protect the images as best we can, and the ownership of the image always remains with the member. You can also specify submission notes for whatever you enter, and this information can be seen later on. So I'm going to go back to the home page, and I'll show you this other way of looking at the same information. So in this case, I'm going to click here to manage your submissions, and when I do that, it opens the Manage Submissions screen. And in this case, I can now see all of the submissions that are open, and the number of days that it looks is according to your submission Manage Display options submission. So if I'm looking several days out in the future, or even a year out into the future, I'll see all of those entries. In order to select and start to enter in images into the competitions, I simply go into the one that I want, in this case the Twilight Zone, and click it. And you notice it doesn't actually allow you to submit images right away. You actually have to click another button, and now you can add in your images. So it's faster to go through the home page if you want to add an image, but if you're not sure which competition or submission you want to put in, then it's better to go through the Manage Open Submissions in order to look at what images you have submitted. Now, one of the options that you have under Manage Open Submissions is called See Your Submission History. So I'd like to go ahead and do that, and when I do that, you'll see all of the images that I've submitted into the club broken out by season and by type. So right now I've only submitted into the FCC digital competitions for 2010, but I can actually go back to 2009 and see all of the submissions that I have made to each of the different types of submission that are available. So here's the Kappa digital competition, FCC special competition, and the President's Challenge. Now, one option you'll see here is you notice that there's a text for the thing that I've submitted when it closed, and then the actual text of the original submission. And if I scroll down this list here, actually that's the only one. So let me go into the President's Challenge, because I know there's more submissions there. And you'll see there's more text here. And I can scroll down and see all of my submissions for all of the President's Challenge. I can turn off these competition notes and just get the title. So when I click this, I just get the title and the closing date and all of the images. So depending on how much text you have, you may want to turn this on or off, depending on what you want to do. And you can look at any of the submissions going way back when for all of the things that you've entered into. The other thing you can do is you can go in and have a look at all of the submissions that all club members have done. So this is sort of like looking back into the past, but now you're looking back at the past for any competition, any submission group that's open. By default, it looks 90 days into the past, and it overrides any of your personal settings. So you can specify, I want to look 90 days into the past, or I want to take a whole year into the past. So this is looking back one full calendar year from the current date, or well, not quite the full calendar year. And then you can click All, which allows you to see all of the submissions that have been available. So this is a fairly lengthy list as to how many have been submitted. In 2005, when we submitted images, those images were always submitted through email, and then the competition results were posted to the website. Starting in 2006 is when we actually started submitting through the website in order to simplify the submission process. So if I click on this entry for October the 1st, 2006, my submission, my neighborhood, this allows you to see all of the images that were submitted into that particular submission group way back when. So these are all the individual thumbnails that were submitted. It tells you who they were submitted by and all that additional information. Now, one of the things about this particular review process is it only shows images of members who are still in the club. So if a member has left the club and their records have been purged, then those images are also purged with them. So when this feature opens up to see all the historical images, it opens it up into a new window. Because I'm using Firefox, these images actually appear on a new tab. So I'm going to close the tab to go back to the original list. Now I'm going to go back to the See Your Image History, and I'm going to show the submission history. So this is a different view of all of your submissions. It basically takes everything that you've submitted and gives you a great big humongous list of everything that you've submitted. So this is absolutely everything that I've submitted, all consolidated into a single list going back many years. It will tell you, actually let me scroll up to the top here. It'll tell you the title that you gave for this image. It'll give you the date, what it was submitted for, what the name of the competition is, and it'll also give you the closing date time of that submission. So in this case, by default, it's sorted by title. But if I wanted to sort it, say by say the closing date time, if I click this button, it'll now sort all of my results by the closing date time, showing again my submissions from 2005 going forward. And as I mentioned before, when images were submitted in 2005, no images was actually submitted through the website, only results were posted to the website. So this is a really, really quick way of getting a hold or finding out all the images that you've submitted. So if you're ever wondering, have I submitted a particular image to the website before for a competition? Well, here's a way of you to quickly scan through all of the images that you've submitted to determine whether or not the image that you've submitted is an image that you had never submitted before. So I've submitted quite a few number of images. So I'm going to hit back, and that's basically all of the ways that you can look at your submission history. So to review, homepage, oops, you can click here to manage your submissions. You can click here to see your personal history for broken out by season and by type. Here you can get a show the summary history, which gives you a list of everything that you've submitted with all the individual thumbnails. And you can also review all submissions, which allows you to look at each of the competitions and see all of the images that were submitted by a member for any competitions going back any number of years, up to, I guess, 5 or 6 years. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.